because I went from 0 kids at 40, 40? Yeah, 40 to 5 kids at 46. So it went like this.
Yeah.
And again, back to what God's plan is, because it's always fun. My wife and I would check on the box when we go for adoption, because in our heart to do adoption, my wife, it's a funny story. When I proposed to my wife, it was in Cabo San Lucas. It was beautiful. And my wife's a little bit shorter than I am. And
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. And so the funny thing is I got on my one knee as a romantic. I got on my knee.
Still eye level.
And she said, you got to get on your knee. And I said, honey, I am on my knees. She says, oh, you are. That's right. And then the second thing she said after I said, will you marry me? And she didn't say yes yet. So first of all, she goes, you're supposed to be on your knee. And I go, I am on my knee. And then the second thing was, well, we're going to adopt. And at that point, I'm like, are you going to say yes? If I say yes, you say yes. Okay, I'm going to adopt. Okay. Whatever. Yes. Just say yes.
So she locked you in a contract for the minute.
It was locked in already that was going to happen. Yeah. And that's fine. And I always liked, of course, my version of, I thought I was going to have 2.5 kids.
White picket fence.
White picket fence, the whole thing. And that's not God's plan.
Yeah,
that's just God laughing at you.
That's one of the things I wanted to talk about with you too, is God's plan is probably a lot different than if you were a 15-year-old young boy. Your trajectory of what you thought your life was going to look like is probably much different than what ended up turning out, right? And obviously, your life that you have now, you wouldn't trade for the world.
Oh,
and that's
not.
God having a plan for you that was better than your own plan, I'm assuming, right?
Absolutely.
And so Rich comes from a really good background, right? And a very small, tight-knit, like, white family.
Yes.
Why don't you explain a little bit of what your family is to?
Well, and I just told you this before we started talking. I hate telling this. I used to always tell you the story between the haves and the have-nots. I had a lot. I had 2 families. I used to not brag. I'd say, hey, do you know what? Do you realize that at the end of our street, in our town, there's a Ferrari dealership? And then we go, oh my gosh, a Ferrari dealership. Well, yeah, that's how I was raised. That's what I was accustomed to. And I thought, well, this is the way it's going to be. That's what God has for me. That's the way it's going to be.
Joel Osteen, I'm here to prosper, right?
Yeah, that's how it works, right?
Yeah.
And so I came to UOP, and then just fast forward. Oh, hit that. Fast forward. What God has for you, if you stay within what God's plan is so much better than anything I could have ever imagined. Anything I could ever imagine. Now, would I imagine this? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I would imagine this. But, hey, I'm on this ride, and it's an unbelievable ride. I get up every morning, and I'm excited. I'm excited to learn. I'm excited to see what God has for me. I want to make sure I stop and get those blackberries. Yeah. I want to get them. And you know what I'm trying to do? My stretch, and I don't know if I'll say it. I'm trying to journal. I'm not much of a journal person, but I don't want to forget these.
Yeah.
I don't want to forget the time that this is going to be. My 17-year-old gave me 6 hugs 2 years ago on a mission trip, because that's what we gave at home, and she wasn't afraid to give me 6 hugs in front of her friends. I want to write that down. So when I'm old and I forget, I can go back and read and go, you know what? That was really pretty neat.
You mean when you forget? You're already old.
Yeah, I know. So, I'm starting to lose it quick. I'm starting to lose it really quick. And those are the kind of things. And so I'm trying to journal those things. And it's just, and it's good. I just got to be more disciplined in doing that. So that's kind of what I'm doing personally in my personal growth.
Yeah. So as far as your family, you have one biological.
Yes, one biological. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go there. So we have one biological. Well, it's a miracle. Let me tell you this story. I don't know how much time you have. I could talk almost a day on just this issue. So we had fertility issues. Mm-hmm. We did. We struggled. My wife and I struggled for almost 5 or 6 years in fertility. And so, because our idea was, okay, well, the biological kid first, and this is the plan. This is what we're going to do. And so it came to a point where we went to a fertility clinic, and the doctor in San Francisco, like it was a corner office, overlooked the whole Bay Bridge. It's beautiful. Where the doctor looked at you and go, well, we'll take your case, but we can't guarantee any results.
Yeah.
And we can't give you any insurance. Because there's a plan A where you give the money, and if we don't have it, we can give you money back. We didn't qualify for that. The doctor looked at our results and go, well, you can do plan B. We can give it a try, but I can't guarantee anything.
Yeah.
And so at that point, we said, okay, well, we're willing to try it. And so what we did is we got money together, and we got and we were able to get. This is amazing how God works, and we were able to get a good amount of money together. And it was 1 week before we got all ready to write the check to go through the in vitro process and do all that. 1 week before I was going to write that check, my wife becomes pregnant with Garrett.
That's a God moment right there.
Well,
for
it's
sure.
even better. Okay, so now I got one. So now my wife and I are looking at each other. We're in a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,200 square foot house. And now we're looking and I go, well, honey, we have all this money saved up that we weren't going to put, let's get a bigger house. And so it just happened that now we have a bigger house. So now that we have a bigger house, then comes Gabby. Right. I mean, within the next couple of years. Then comes our 2 other adopted. Because we've had every range. We've had from foreign exchange students for a year to a foreign exchange student for 3 days to guardianship to adoption. We've had almost the whole range of it. And so talk about the God moment in his plans was, okay, we'll have kids. No, we saved up this money. We would never be able to save up money for a bigger house. That was never in our ideas.
Yeah.
But God said no. And so what does that do? That opens up our house to have a bigger place, more space to add other people. And so as we filled out the adoption paperwork, this is God's plan again, we felt looking at it, because you check, well, it's kind of awkward feeling because you go.
Yeah, we're kind of going through that process a little bit on our end too. And it's almost like a checklist of what you want or what you don't want.
Box.
And it's almost, it's heart-wrenching and telling about like almost who you are as a person when you start marking like, I don't know if we could handle this, or I don't know if we would want, like it's.
And that's what I want to share with you is that my wife and I checked that we didn't feel we would be a good fit for a Black child.
Culturally,
we
just
can't give them what they need. We can't do it. We just don't know how. We don't feel that we're equipped to do that.
Yeah.
And then again, that's us. That's not God's plan. That's God laughing. So a social worker 6 months later goes, hey, you might want to reconsider that. We said, yeah, all right. 1 week later, Gloria comes. 12 months after that, Genesis comes. Both Black. Both beautiful babies. I love them to death. And it's just, my point is, a lot of times we got to get over ourselves.
Yeah.
Get over ourselves. Get out of the way. It's a famous basketball term, and I've applied it to my Christian values. Get over yourself. Get over yourself. Let God go into that void. Take that step of faith. Let God go into that void. Let him fill in what's going to happen. He knew all along what was going to do it, but he didn't know I was such a stiff-necked person that oh no, I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to do it this way. And so we've had a great blessing that now we have full Mexican or Hispanic, 100%. We have our biological son who's half Caucasian, half white, 2 Black kids.
You just said half Caucasian, half white.
Half Caucasian,
he's
half
white,
Hispanic.
half Hispanic.
There we go. He's half Mexican, half white.
That'd be full.
Yeah, that would be. No, I'm the only one that's full.
Yeah.
It's quite a diverse group of as we walk around.
The Motley Crew.
Well, we definitely get some looks, and we're walking through. It's kind of fun.
Plus, you stick out on your own, just being 6'8".
Oh yeah, and my wife's 5 foot. Yeah,
and then you have
that's kind of tough.
That's
a tough
pretty
one.
funny.
So yes, it's been an unbelievable ride.
Thank you for watching this Oak by the River content. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, if you would do us a favor and hit that like and subscribe button, and maybe even think about sharing it so we can continue to reach as many people as possible. Thank you very much.